All right, well, what we're going to talk about now is the core. You need something to wrap the feathers on. We're going to end up with something like this, but the way you get there is by wrapping feathers on a piece of material. I made, this is the very first set of feathers that I made like this, and I made these with rawhide. And it was really to kind of start the process and figure out how it works, but it's fairly stiff and it doesn't have a lot of flexibility to it. That's the first set. The second set I made is also on the other stick here, and this is similar. It's made with the rawhide, which again is a sturdy material, but it doesn't have a lot of flexibility to it. And I want to point out that this reddish pinkish stuff is from the Lewis woodpecker. Just a shout out to all the members of the Lewis family. Now what we're going to end up with here, a feather that has, or a core rather, that has feathers, and we've just started these. This is the end one, and we have one white feather tied on. This one is just the end feather, and basically what you end up doing is you start at the end of these and work your way down toward the base where you're going to tie the sticks on. So that's how we go about that, is start at this end. I have some blanks here that I've made. You can see they have a lot of flexibility to them. You see the bounce that they have. That'll stiffen up a little bit as you put feathers on. But what you're going to look for is a core that gives you somewhere, this is about a 16 inch, and that's just about right. It gives you about 13, 14 inches here that you're wrapping feathers on, and it still leaves you 2 or 3 inches left to tie onto the sticks here, and then finish with the fluff. So I usually make my core, the blanks, at least 16 inches long to allow for that, and 17's better. I wouldn't go much longer than that because there's just really not much of a need to, but generally 16 to 18 inches is what I try and make the cores in terms of the length. And you can make the cores out of different things. We're going to show here how to make it out of piano wire and string and glue in just a minute, but I mentioned rawhide. Here's some short ones, and basically rawhide, you would soak it until it's pliable, and then you could hang it one end on the wall, twist it until you get the twist that you like, and then what you can do is put something on the other end, some sort of a weight or something, and something along the wall so it doesn't untwist, and that way it'll dry, and it'll dry in a really straight way. So you can do that with your rawhide. The only thing that I would say about it is that I always made mine a really tight twist, and they always came out without very much flexibility to them. And so I don't know if that means I needed to cut them thinner or not wrap them quite as tight. Another material that people talk about using a lot is sinew. This piece is one that came out of an elk, and it's similar to the rawhide. You would take some strip of this off of here, not this much, but just 1/4 of an inch or so. Soak it till it's pliable, and then you could do the same thing. You could twist it and then hang something on it so that it dries in a nice straight line. And I don't know if people are doing it, but you could use smaller pieces of sinew and maybe twist that into like a string. Do the same thing with the soaking, hanging, twisting, and putting a weight on it so that it dries in a nice straight line. That would probably work too. And I know that depending on the part of the deer that the sinew comes from, this is from the back strap here, but there are other parts of sinew that run through the legs and the arms that are long enough, and the person might be able to use that too. Other things that people use, we talked about rawhide, we talked about sinew, we talked about wire, and string, but I've heard of people using the whiskers from sea lions, if you live along the coast back in the day, and kind of stacking those up, put one down, tie the next one like that until it's long enough, and using that as the core. Baleen from whales, and I don't even know what baleen is, but I know recently there's been some baleen show up here in the area, and that apparently is also another thing people can use as a core. In looking at these, I've seen string, just a piece of string, where it's been stretched tight, and then another piece wrapped around that string all the way from one end to the other, and it's just simply string is all there is. It serves as a core. And I've even seen one set or one group of sets that's made out of bobby pins, and again they're stacked, tied, and stacked and tied until they're long enough, and then the feathers are wrapped on those. So there's a wide variety of different kind of materials that people have used. Probably before the Americans came, it was primarily the original materials, the rawhide, sinew, and the parts down along the coast that I mentioned. But since then, people have been using just about any material that's suitable, that has a good action to it, and is strong enough to hold the feathers. We chose to use the wire and wrap it with string because it has good flexibility, but it also has, we hope, durability, because you put a lot of work into these feathers, and you hate to see them damaged. So I think the wire will be really durable over time. We'll just have to see how it works out.